Hey guys, and welcome back to All the Mods 10. This is episode 28, and in this one I believe I can make the Blastproof alloy plates. But before that, there's something in this frame that has been bothering me for a while that I haven't bothered fixing yet. Can you see it? Can you see it now? This thing right here. I accidentally placed it while fixing up the walls behind here, and it's been that way ever since. And between episodes, I've added a manganese bee and a chromium bee to the titanium bee, added their blocks, and also made, I believe, titanium a passive resource, and I'm auto crafting up a bunch of chromium, I think up to 2048 or something like that, just so I have a buffer. Yeah, in the meantime, there's 827 ingots, and if I look at hot ingots, they come and they go, and the titanium hot ingots have been steadily going down because I also added 3 more vacuum freezers right here. One of these is dedicated to steel, the other to titanium, I believe, and then there's this third one that has nothing on it. And then the fourth one is recipes that I'm requesting. And to the alloy plates effect, we were in the process of making the mixed blastproof ingots, and I've already done the stainless steel and the titanium. What I need next is tungsten. And tungsten's intended recipe is this one right here, where you make tungsten nuggets using tungsten tiny dust, which you get from basically macerating or crushing down tungsten. So you get the raw tungsten, you crush it down, it turns into the dust, and the dust only has a couple uses. It can turn into tiny dust, or, rather handily, it can go into an arc furnace, and that is the skip right here. From one block of raw tungsten, you get 13.5 on average tungsten ingots, and that is a more than 1-to-1 conversion. So given that we're going to be working on a little bit of immersive engineering right now, it only makes sense for me to be in this room holding this book right here, where under the heavy machinery tab here near the bottom is an arc furnace. Now this is a rather sizable structure with a rather massive list of blocks you need, but it's not too complicated. It's mostly steel and engineering blocks similar to the ones that are used for the presses, and I'll walk you through the build process. Now the only thing that can trip you up in here, given that these are fairly simple crafts as always, is the reinforced blast bricks. And these are crafted with steel plates and blast bricks are a bunch of nether bricks or regular bricks with magma blocks in the middle. Now fortunately for me, I can probably craft magma blocks exactly like so, and so I'll be in no trouble at all. So the arc furnace is a 5x5 block, and I want to have the center at the back to be right there. And I'm going to try to build this as much as I can right off of my memory. And if memory serves me right, there's a cradle of blocks like so, and then there's a bunch of blocks like so. The steel blocks go here. They stand 3 tall on either side. And what else? There's a roll like so, and then there's the cauldron in front, that goes there, steel scaffolding goes here, and then that goes there, and I believe this is just a pad. Now there's 2 blast bricks down here, like so, because 2x6 in the space, and then the floor hangs off 4 blocks. This pops out 4 blocks, and it fills in, so it's 2x4, 3x4, and then the other line just went up here, like so. Okay, now there's more heavy engineering blocks, I don't remember where they go just yet, but I remember this comes off that, and what else? Yeah, the scaffolding goes here, and here, and then heavy engineering blocks go, oh yeah, along the sides here. Putting the block incorrectly just reminded me. Let's just break this, and retry. Okay. I really dislike that feature, actually. The fact that I'm looking there at that block, and it should place right there, but it doesn't. Yeah, I wish I could turn that off somehow, but I can't. The 9 light engineering blocks go here, like so, in the back. And then the steel sheet metal goes along the sides, like so. I think I'm done now. That goes there. And this goes here, and if I built this correctly, I should be able to whack it with my engineer's hammer. Right at the cauldron. Ooh, I've done something incorrectly. Okay, well, I'm not one to take credit where credit isn't due, but I was mostly correct. Since these light engineering blocks craft in more in excess than what I needed, I messed up right here. I remember the shape having these scaffolds on the side, something like so, and I wonder where else am I wrong. The scaffolds seem right, that 3 tall seems right, it ends in a steel, oh yeah, and then there's no sheet metal on the side here. So there's no block there, and there's no block here. Now if I whack it, or right click it with my hammer, arc furnace, hooray. Oh, I was almost right. Now, as all immersive engineering machines go, this one has these connectors in the back that let you send power through to the machine. It's fully powered now. and this machine relies on electrodes to function. But before I continue, I feel like now would be the best time to plant these hop graphite seeds that I got as a quest reward at some point. And, you know, that's next to all the spots, so they go right there. And I never bothered planting because, well, I had graphite from extreme reactors. What would I ever need hop graphite for? Turns out hop graphite is the immersive engineering material that lets you craft electrodes. Now you can only automatically make the ones that are at 50% using the metal press unless you auto-craft them in the automated workbench. But given that I have this seed and it's been chilling in my system for so long, I can just make a dedicated press that crafts up electrodes as and when they need it. So, that's exactly what I'm going to do. And this is the sort of system I have created. Now, I am currently thinking about creating an overly complicated subnet auto-crafting system to restock these furnace with its electrodes. And I am torn between setting it up while I talk about it or talking about it after I set it up. But you know what I can do? I can set up the system and talk about it as I set up parts of it. So this is the first part, the part that will feed graphite into the press to be pressed into 50% electrodes. And because this is auto-stocking, I don't really care about the 50%edness. So, of course, for this to work, this would need to have hop graphite requested into here. And I usually like to keep at least 2 crafts worth in stock, so 8 because 4 makes 1. And so this importer will constantly try to pull into this subnetwork that I'm looking at. And the only place where it can store the hop graphite is on this conveyor belt, which then eventually presses it into the electrodes. Now, of course, I don't want this to constantly be producing stuff, so I'm going to set up a level emitter and add a redstone card to this, which only works with a signal. And the import bus will import everything. Now, once again, similar to that setup there, I would like the end of this guy to be an interface so that whatever gets crafted ends up in here, which will then eventually connect up to whatever goes on up here. So this is the other input for electrodes. Right there. And it is important to note that you cannot assume that this is considered as storage. This is the stuff that it wants to put back into a storage or wherever it accepts them. So the level emitter cannot read this, which is why I have placed in a singular drawer that houses all of the electrodes. And once there is more than 5, this thing turns off, and that thing only works when there's electrodes missing. Now, the problem with the arc furnace, in my opinion, is the fact that you have no way of automatically putting in the electrodes. So you can only semi-automate this process, and it only goes so far. So for now, I would have to do this, and that just made a crunch sound, but I'm assuming that's okay. And this crafts up to 5, and given that I need to do this manually, I'd rather have more like 50 in stock at any given point. Yeah, that's fine. Right, and now this arc furnace is ready. All I need to do is slap a pattern provider on here that connects directly to this interface, probably sneak a cable up here, sorta like so. And I'm assuming this pattern provider now just reads as the arc furnace once it shows up. And sure enough, it does. So I should now be able to just say tungsten ingots. I would like them to be produced this way, which I have already bookmarked. So we can now encode this pattern right here and say 14. Let's just say it's 13 every time because that's the guarantee. And once that is done, all I really need to do is teach the system how to craft these ore blocks and all should be golden. All I need to do now is passively request these guys as tungsten ingots, give them a space in the storage, and I think that's it. Which is now done. I should now be able to request tungsten, and if this setup works, this should just craft it up. Thing's not on. Oh, it's put it in here. That means that sort of makes sense because this is the additional blocks and this is what's being smelted and the input makes sense to be on the left. Damn it. Okay, that means I have to move these cables around ever so slightly. And I guess this cable can sneak down the bottom here. No, it can't. There's a gate in the way. Hold on. I've got to fix this. Okay, this time for real. Let's put this here. And instead of moving the cable around, I'm just going to snake it up the top like so. It's turned rather quickly into spaghetti. And now I should be able to request tungsten once everything comes back online. Let's see, tungsten request 1. hate that sound, but that is kind of what this sounds like. I'm just going to leave that completely muted, actually. And this does take a second. In fact, I'm going to complete both crafts. This does craft one stack at a time, so it works perfectly for bulk ingredients. And yeah, this is done. And this is being pulled out. But as you can see, these graphite electrodes steadily lose their integrity. And unfortunately, I really wish that the mod maker would have added some sort of ability to just automatically restock the arc furnace. This is a completely manual process by design, and I hate it because I'm all for automation. But either way, we now have a rather sustainable source of tungsten, and the sustainable source of raw tungsten is going to be the tungsten bee, a coal bee and an ender bee, which is a leaf cutter and a magmatic, all of which I have. Free tungsten, here we come. Well, the tungsten bee is now in place, and I hope it's producing its stuff. And the arc furnace is now requesting 2048 or something like that ingots of tungsten passively. What I wanted to point out was the fact that the arc furnace is a huge load on your energy grid. It consumes a lot of power, and it's consuming so much power that it's actually slowly draining my induction matrix. And that I know for a fact because even though it's connected via a gate instead of through the AE system, just the gate uses the induction matrix as a buffer too, so that guy is thirsty. But either way, we now have tungsten. The next stop for this train is a blastproof casing town. Blastproof casing comes from this stuff, you've already seen this, and I need an electric packer which needs robot arms. And of course that means that I have more recipes to craft, but I don't want to do it this way. I would like to create patterns to request these automatically, because of course, automation. Robot arms are now being auto-restocked, and an electric packer is now mine. And I would wish this electric packer to live right here. And I'm actually going to use an extended pattern provider for this one, because I imagine I will need a whole boatload of crap for this one. And connect it right up into the system, induction cards, you know, the treatment that most of these machines get anyways. And here is the recipe. All encoded up, we put this in here, and out comes mixed blastproof ingots. What I'm really after though is the blastproof alloy plates, which will then let me make, finally, the blastproof casing 8 at a time. So now this recipe will go in an electric compressor, which I should have available right here. One of these should be empty at the very least. Put it in here. And now finally, I can request blastproof casing and say 8. Go. Do the thing, please, and thank you. Where's it being crafted? I don't really know, but I don't really care either. I'll be back when it's done. And it's done. It took a little minute, but here we are, blastproof casing. And now this also means that I get to craft up my first improbable probability device. One of the ingredients for the Ultimate Star. I'm gonna put it on the wall right there. And this one will go right here. Oh, wait, I misplaced this, I think. Item frames. I am missing 3 of them. There we go. That's it. Now that that right there is done, I did ask in my Discord as to what I should do next, given that the machines behind me don't exactly work. Those being the runic machines. And by popular vote, everyone chose to have me work on the Awakening and the Insanium part of the Ultimate Star. Now what's awfully interesting is the fact that even though I had a farm set up like this by episode 4, I am still running on the essence that I had made back then. And in fact, I don't even know how much essence I have left from that time. It seems like I only have 61 Insanium and 68 Supremium, which is, in all fairness, about 10 stacks of essence. But still, the fact that episode 4 has lasted me all the way up to episode, I think this one's 28, it's pretty impressive. But I would not like to use this type of farm for getting my Insanium. I want to use the bees. And of course, the bee I'm after is the Insanium bee, which goes down the rabbit hole and ends up with the Prosperity bee. And the Prosperity bee you get from, I believe it's crystalline bees and prosperity blocks. Yeah. And I've gone ahead and made a whole boatload of Prosperity bees because I want 5 Prosperity bee spawnings. So, eventually, all of these will be crushed down. and turn into prosperity matter. And then I'll have 5 clean prosperity bee eggs to start from, which will eventually become 5 insanium bee spawn eggs. All I need is time. And combining these 5 prosperity treats with eggs gives me 5 prosperity bee spawn eggs. Perfect. Let the infusing begin. Now, I would like to semi-automate this process just by the use of some hoppers right here. And with this, I should be able to put down the requisite blocks and essences on the sides and just recycle the bee eggs that would end up in the middle. So this is kind of what I'm going to do. I'm going to put one of these, one of those, one of these, one of those, one of these. I'll already put it there. How strange. Those, these, and then those. And now all of these should either have inferium or blocks or inferium or blocks. And now I can put the 5 spawn eggs in the middle. Eventually this will be done. And I'll be left with a inferium spawn egg. Perfect. I can now whip this out and recycle it back in. And I'm basically going to do the exact same with Prudentium and all the way up. I don't think it makes any sense for me to show every single step on camera here, so I'll just be back when I have Insanium bee. And I have run out of Insanium and stuff to craft up enough of bees, so I'm going to start off with just one Insanium bee right here. Now what I need to know is what its block of choice is, because I assume it's an Insanium block, but I want to be sure, and it is. So I should just put down an Insanium block right here, and I'll eventually get a bunch of Insanium. You know, I totally forgot that this exists, so I'm just going to drain this entire barrel into my system. And in all honesty, I could probably bring out a wireless link to this place and get all of this, but I couldn't be bothered just yet. But hey, all of those stacks and stacks and stacks of blocks have made me one Insanium block. And so now I have the infinite Insanium loop. The more Insanium I get, the more bees I can craft up to the Insanium tier, and the more bees I can craft up, the more Insanium I can produce. And I was wondering why I didn't get the achievement for the improbable probability device while I wait for this Insanium. Turns out even though I crafted the 2 rainbow furnaces, I never bothered to hold them. So, 2 rainbow. No, you know what time of day it is. It's late at night. My brain no worky. Here they are. Quest completed. Isn't she pretty? Look at it. Look at all those goodies. Gonna collect all and block of coal. Must have been naughty this year. Unobtainium, vibranium, and aldemodium. You know, also I noticed that my reactor sounds were off. Like I wasn't hearing my reactor go at all. And it was off. Why would my nuclear reactor be off? I don't understand. I hope it's producing steam. Where is all my steam going? What? What is happening here? Is that full of what? What's happening? Quantum entangler. That's on. And so this should be powered. Redstone mode activation. Why would that be a problem? Ever? Never got damaged. No, the temperature couldn't have gone too high at all. Did the reactor just reset? It's at 0.1 millibuckets instead of 200. What? I don't understand. Something must have gone terribly wrong. I wonder if it's because it actually filled up. And then the reactor was like, oh, I'm full. I can't burn anymore. That still doesn't make any sense. Make it make sense, fellas. Why would my reactor randomly turn off? Help me. And all it took was a little bit of waiting around, but this should be the last of them. Give it the treat. And we now have 5 maxed out Insanium bees. I already have put Insanium in as a mega cell, so it should hypothetically store infinite amounts. And that is another task now behind me. Alright, I'm back after a little break. I had to step out to get me some wall paint and select colors and all that. But here we are, we're back. I did accidentally leave my computer on though, so this is literally the screen I've come back to. And I do wonder how much Insanium have I ended up producing in that time. So, let's go find out, shall we? Let's see. Insanium. 1500. That's not that bad at all. And what I'm up to right now is just copying and pasting this back over from there to here, because this is where I want the Infusion Altar and the Awakening Altar to be. I think this is a pretty good spot, given that they're symmetrical, and I did mention that I was going to move them at some point. That time is now. So long, old friend. It's time to go. Let's just take all of this and put it there. Alright, Infusion Altar is now in place. Let's see what the Awakening Altar requires. Gold and that stuff. Soulstone, I have that. And Runic Glass, or any glass. Okay, this is all doable. Runic Altar goes in the middle, and of course it gives you the handy heads up for what goes where. So I need 4 of those and 4 of these. 4 Awakening Pedestals. Come on, I clicked that. And then 4 Essence Vessels. And that is those quests completed. Now, just as the Infusion Altar counterpart, you put the thing you want to awaken in the middle, put your stuff in here, and these 4 pedestals get the 4 elements. I would like to set up an automatic system for restocking these. I think I'm going to use modular routers for both sides this time. And what I've done here is I've just pulled a connection from a P2P tunnel that had almost 32 channels on it. And this should now boot up, and that'll be channel number whatever. And this interface shall request all of the essences. So air essence, of course it brings stairs. It's much easier if you bookmark them. So this one wants earth essence, water essence, fire essence, and air essence. And why not 10 of each? Sure. And with 4 puller Mark IIs, I would like all of them to pull from this guy and pull into each one of these their respective essences. And of course that means that even though I selected their interface at once, I would have to individually encode what they can pull. So this one will do earth essence, and that's a blacklist. I would like to whitelist this. Yep. And then the next one will whitelist the water and the fire, and then the air. If I can do this right, then I can put one of these in each one of these. Perfect. Now, of course, these lasers can be hidden with muffler upgrades. What I want to do next is make sender modules that send one of those essences to here, here, and here. And with the last of these sender modules sending into the tops of these, I can put one in each one of these, and then this should start sending its stuff over to the respective pedestals. And if you look here, it's filling up with air essence. Of course, if I turn my shaders off, you can actually see them fill up one at a time. But unfortunately, I don't have that luxury when I had to turn my shaders on. It, I guess, doesn't like the interaction or something. And it's quite the light show, but it's gonna change. And you know what I realized looking at all of these awakening recipes? It's that all of these items I can just use a distributor module to put in the sides, and then just dump my items in here to craft it instead of having to click 4 items at a time. I might just set up another modular router. I can't middle click this one apparently. And this distributor module can go here, 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 and here. I hope that works. I mean, it should. I see no reason for it not to. And I'm not using a polar upgrade because I'm going to put a barrel right here. And that barrel is going to contain a pusher upgrade. I can spell barrel right. Or apparently its equivalent for sophisticated storage is called a hopper upgrade. Either way, it gets one of those. And if I put in 5 of these, hopefully, that goes there, 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 and there. That's that. There should be one left in here, or at the very least one in there. Perfect. And on this side, I would like to set up something similar with the barrels and the hopper upgrades. One of these is going to do 4. The other is going to do the other 4 because it's always crafted in that pattern. And the last one is going to do stuff in the middle. Should I also make a modular router that pulls out for full auto, or should I just stand here and right click? I think right clicking is fine. I don't want to have too many modular routers now. So 2 more distributor upgrades. 1, 2, 3, and 4 goes into this guy, and then the next one does the other 4. Perfect. Both of these will get the barrels, and then this one will have a center mark 2 going into this. Now you may wonder why anyone would go through the effort of crafting all the way up to a Supremium tool and then go to an Awakened Supremium tool. So let's just take the sword for example. 3 interaction range, 24 attack damage. Let's look at the Awakened Supremium version. It's got the same interaction range, but it's got a higher attack damage and 1 extra augment slot. And that's true for all Awakened tools. Every single Awakened version has 1 more augment. And even the armor has higher stats. So for example, the leggings, 8 armor and 3 toughness, turns into 10 armor and 3.5 toughness. What's even more interesting is the Awakened Supremium Paxel, because it is directly used to make the best tool in the game. 71 attack damage, 6.9 attack speed, the Aldmodium Alloy Paxel. All of these recipes are somewhat complicated, requiring a pretty deep dive into Forbidden Arcanus and getting the FS's forges up to appropriate levels, and then also automating, or at least semi-automating, these prisms so that you can make the Paxels. Now, all of these can fortunately be automated in the Runic Forge, which I'm looking forward to. But alas, to get started with your awakening journey, that sounds oddly spiritual, you need Awakened Supremium. And to get Awakened Supremium, well, obviously there's the B, which is the easy way out. But to get started, you're going to have to do one of these. Awaken a block of Supremium using all the essences and something called Cognizant Dust. Done with that. I'm done with that. Just clear up to-do list here. And Cognizant Dust comes from killing withers with the Mystical Enlightenment enchantment. With a slight change of scenery for potentially obvious reasons, let's take a look at how to get the Mystical Enlightenment. You need some Supremium Essence and a whole bunch of Experience Essence with a book, and in an enchanter for Mystical Agriculture, it'll just give you the Mystical Enlightenment book. Seems easy enough until you realize that all of my XP has been converted into experience droplets. And I don't think there's a way for me to turn these back into this, so I'm going to have to pause that autocraft for a sec. And you know what? While I wait for my system to build up the numbers for the enchants, I want to teach the system how to make the Insanium blocks and also all of the subsequent blocks going down the chain. So let's teach it this recipe, and then also teach it how to do this recipe. So, and I'll just probably continue down, teach it Supremium blocks, so on and so forth. I'll be back. Enchanter in hand and a bunch of XP at the ready. Let's enchant some books, shall we? I already searched it by Supremium. That's some I had left. I can always just request, I don't know, 200 more? Sure. Load this up, load it full of experience, and put in a book. 3. I'll take 3. I don't mind. Oh, just ate all of that XP. Fortunately, I built up some more, so here we are. Another book at level 3, which I can now combine to give me level 4. This goes in the library. And just like that, my brand new sword has a... an essence weapon, you say? I guess it's time to make a Supremium sword. Just gotta do one of those. And hopefully, it carries the enchants over. Clearly not. Oh, it does. Right, awesome. And right about now, having these auto-crafting recipes is coming in real handy, because I can just do this and then press U again, auto request. Oh, ow. As I was saying, I can just keep requesting these auto-crafts, and it seems like it's going to do that every single time. I have enchanted my sword with this. What is it? Mystical Alignment 5, and I have Soul Sand and Wither Skulls, and apparently it's foggy out here today. I didn't sign up for bad weather, but here we are. Just gonna kill a few withers, and they should, hopefully, drop Cognizant Dust. And there it is, Cognizant Dust. It dropped 8 that time. I wonder how many more I can farm off of this wither right here. Let's see. What I'm really after is the Awakened Supremium B, so that requires 4 blocks of Awakened Supremium, each one of which is 4 Cognizant Dust, so that is 16 of these, and then its flower is another Awakened Supremium block, so I need 20. I have 16 right now. This should be 24. And I think this is the perfect time for me to try this, hopefully, appropriately functional system. I should be able to put this in here, and then just, once this is done, it should refill. I'm hoping this works. I should be able to do this, and once it gets everything, yes. Awakened Supremium, let's go. And at this point, I should be good to craft 4 of these, and then 4 of those. Put one of these in each of these. One goes here, and I believe this was the one with the distributor, so that goes there. And then I can put that there, and hopefully, yeah, Supremium B, which I will then awaken. That's already ready and waiting. Oh, aha. the bee gets the treat, it gets in a cage, and I'm gonna put it in its own little habitat. This one's full of Insanium bees, so maybe in the future I'll make a bunch of awakened bees and put them in here. But for now, the singular Awakened Supremium bee shall give me Awakened Supremium. Hell yeah. Guys, subscribers, viewers, and other audience members alike, you will not believe what has just happened. Spilbo has released his recent video, in which his runic crucible is working perfectly, even though it flashes the error on the screen. And I recognize that I never actually tried to use these recipes in my video after 2.6. So, if this works, I should be able to request both of these, and they should be coming in right now. In fact, let's go check on it. And I just saw a progress bar. Holy crap, this is working. So you know what that means? That means that it's time for me to say that this has been KSaw in Aldamods 10, and in the next one I am tackling these multi-blocks, because it seems like they work now. Peace out, everybody. I'm excited for the next one.